Now playing the Hook and Bridge podcast.
I fucking love Kesha. I'm telling you, I'm the worst person to have a podcast. I can barely speak.
Oh my god, I love Wheatus!
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hook and Bridge podcast. I am your host, Harley, joined by my co-host, Taylor.
Hello,
and my
everybody.
lovely wife, Lindsay. Taylor, we have a very, very special guest on today.
I'm so excited.
Taylor is 22, so she's on the TikTok. I know you from way before then.
Yes.
But she was super excited. At first I said, well, first off, let's just introduce Brendan B. Brown, everybody, from the band Wheatus is on the show today.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me.
But I said, yeah, we got Wheatus coming on. And she was like, who's that? And I said, Teenage Dirtbag. And she said, oh, yeah, I know that song.
Somebody early on, like way long time ago, somebody's like, you should change the name of the band to Teenage Dirtbag. And I was like, God damn, that's probably not a terrible idea, but
Yeah.
like, what?
Well, so just for our audience, because a lot of people might think of like you guys as a one-hit wonder, but that album has incredible tracks on it. I really love A Little Respect. I have a question on my list here about Wanna Be Gangster as well. I think that one's great. So for those listening, definitely check out the whole album. I mean, you guys had an incredible album. You had a very distinct sound. You still do. And I think that personally, I think your band is one of the most underrated bands that came out of that era.
I agree.
Wow. Thank you. That means a lot. Yeah, I don't know what any of it means. Just we keep getting to go out and play tours. That's all I really know. So it's like, okay.
You're doing something right.
Yeah.
So
Allegedly.
first question for you today is I know you grew up in New York. Sounds like you're still in New York. What was like the first venue that you played that was like the moment where you knew, all right, I'm gonna start doing music as more than just a hobby. This is gonna be a career for me. This is my direction. This is what I was meant to do, kind of thing.
Wow. Venue. That's kind of a tough one because Wheatus was not the first band that I was in.
Right.
It wasn't the second or the third or even the fourth. And I think that if I had to nail one of them down, my memory of playing CBGBs in the summer of '92, I think it was.
Wow.
With a sort of like post-hardcore / grunge band called Bandersnatch. I was the guitar player, lead guitar player, and like riffmeister. You know, like I wasn't singing yet. I hadn't found my own voice as a frontman. So it was probably that CB show, which was a mess, but it made me understand the reality of the whole affair, and it made me want to focus it and learn how to do it right, because at the time I didn't. So yeah.
Awesome. So speaking of your other bands, is there any project from your early days that kept going without you that you kind of keep in touch with any of those guys?
I don't think so. I was in a band called Hope Factory where I was the lead guitar player, and that was definitely the best pre-Wheatus band that I was in. And I know the singer-songwriter from that band, we're still friendly, and I know he's still working on material, but I don't think it's called Hope Factory. And I would say that that's the only one that sort of continues on in some form, because the singer-songwriter, this guy named Ali, is really, really good. But no, I don't think so.
Okay. So you move into doing Wheatus, you find your voice. I know the story, but I don't know how familiar with the story everybody else is. I'd love to hear your story, your version of where the iconic voice behind Teenage Dirtbag came from. I love the story. You could tell it a million times. I love hearing it. So
um, well, I started singing along to Prince and AC/DC and stuff like that before puberty. So um, I was able to hit high notes very early on that I kind of refigured out once my voice changed, and my voice didn't change that much. That's another truth to the whole matter. But I think that as I used to talk in a very high pitched voice to taunt bullies into hitting me first. That was like, there was a lot of fist fighting in my little town on Long Island and in the 80s, and the worst part about it was the anticipation, knowing that you were going to lose a fight to some asshole and just wanting to get it over with. So I kind of like started taunting people. I didn't lose, but that insane buildup was cut very short. So then I remember singing along with my mother to the Drifters' "White Christmas," and there's that sort of "Well, I am dreaming of a white Christmas," like that spot there, and I used to play with that in the car with her and sing octaves and harmonies higher. She would sometimes get upset and say, "That's not it. That's not the line." And sometimes she would go, "How did you know that harmony?" You know. Yeah, that those are two pretty clear memories of it. But when I was writing Teenage Dirtbag and the other songs for the first album, and kind of discovering where my voice was going to be, because that was the first thing I ever sang on, was the Wheatus project. So I was nervous about it, and it was in the woodshed for a long time. I think it was probably, I sang live a few times in a sort of reconstituted version of Bandersnatch in like '94. We broke up for a little while and then like tried to start it up again, and I was the singer for it, but the other guys didn't like it. So we trashed that, and then I started sort of working on where my voice was, like what kind of a voice I had and all that. And from about 94, 95, 96, 97 was when I really started demoing all of the songs for the first album, some for the second, and even some for the third. So it was like I was writing a lot, and I was sort of woodshedding my voice. And Teenage Dirtbag, verse 1, chorus 1, verse 2, chorus 2, it comes to this sort of "oh yeah" section, which is a big lift, and then it has this like, it reaches almost an impasse. And it was a weird one because anything I did at that point that wasn't repetitive would have made the song too long. So the short version is I decided to make the song too long and build this like other part of the narrative, introduce a new character in a way that I was pretty aware by then violated a lot of the rules of like how singles are supposed to be cut and radio and timing and all that stuff. So all these years later, the fact that Teenage Dirtbag still does stuff is weird to me, just on the fact of how long it is. It's too long to be a pop single, and yet it somehow exists in that space. So I knew it was like a strong song, but the length of it and the introducing this other character and this adapting this voice for that character made me think that these were things that would probably exclude it from the canon of like forever radio songs, and I was fine with that because I wasn't trying to have a radio band. You know, I was trying to have something like weird and interesting and fun and that rocked. And so yeah, I mean, you tell me, why is it still doing stuff? Is it because we've dismantled radio and there's no more like 3-minute restriction?
I mean, I think that's a big part of it. I think the other part of it too is you know, I think that early on people didn't know that you did both voices in the song. And I think when you started talking about that, it brought new life to it. And that resurgence, I would say, happened in the past few years where you know, the not to get super political, but like the I guess socio-economical, is that what I'm going for? Like the human rights movement of the past
Mhm.
few years. I think that people have gravitated towards a male that is able to do both
Mhm.
a
Sure.
female and a male character in a song. It's a very uncommon theme in music.
Right. Well, the only reason I didn't consider it quote unquote a trans friendly or
Mhm.
uh, sliding scale gender song in any sense is because there wasn't really that kind of language back then, right?
Right.
And but I knew that sort of thing kind of pissed off the right people, and I felt good about like defying those norms. Now what am I talking about? I'm on like a cis male, like whatever, somewhere on some sliding scale, but and I'm white, so but the point is that only that like there were a lot of safe avenues that would have
Right.
got me way quicker to a place that was comfortable, and I was
Mhm.
like, no, forget that. Let's
The
just
story
do
is
something weird
also
and
beautiful.
defiant, and that maintains a good narrative. So choosing the good narrative over any sort of gender typing or
Yeah.
sexual preference or lifestyle, it just didn't. None of it mattered, and there also wasn't the language to describe it. So I was like, fuck it.
Right. Well, and the story is beautiful. It's this beautiful love story. It's also a good like fuck you to your bullies in the past, right? Like it's this narrative of like I'm this nobody who is admiring this woman, and I think that she's going to end up with XYZ person, and then in the end she's looking back at you saying, oh, I want that guy. So it's a really cool like high school love story. I really enjoyed it growing
Yeah,
up.
maybe. I've had people come to me and say like, "Oh, this is like the first incel anthem," and I'm like, "Hang on a second, hang on. This person is accepting his like lowly status. He's not. There's no demand for something in this song. It's like pure acceptance." And that was the only language that I understood. I mean, I went to a fucking boys' school. You want to talk involuntary incel? Like, I mean, like I but no, never did it cross my mind that somebody owed me something. like that was just like, what? That just feels rapey right off the bat. And I mean, if I know that from just being raised, if I ever expressed any of those views, my grandmother would have cut my head off. So it's like, it's this other thing of like, again, not having the language for anything like incel back then, but knowing fully well that like, if you're rejected, you're rejected. Like that's what happened,
Yeah.
Learn from that, like accept the dirtbag lowly status and whatever, try and learn something new. But yeah.
Speaking of Teenage Dirtbag, congratulations on Christmas Dirtbag. I
It's
love
so
it.
good.
It's so
So
good.
good.
It's fun. Sadly, Gabrielle, who wrote the lyric for Christmas Dirtbag, is not here. She's my partner, and she's in the band and one of our backing vocalists, and she's a singer-songwriter in her own right. You can look her up on Spotify or wherever you stream. But Gabrielle Sturbins, it was July or August, maybe end of July, early August, and I was totally lost on what to do with that because we had talked about it for many years, like making a Christmas EP, and the idea of a Christmas version of Teenage Dirtbag existed, but I was incapable of reaching into that universe because I have two hard burned neural paths for that song. It just means something else to me so severely that it was hard for me to imagine something else. So it was a surprise when 24 hours later she handed me a lyric sheet and it was like perfect. I was like, how did you do this? And she's like, well, dummy, like Noel is Christmas.
Yeah.
And I was like, like wow, like it was staring me in the face and you started right where you needed to, and it's done. So I sang it in the next 24 hours and finished it, and it was finished. And I was lucky to have somebody who could have new vision on that. That's kind of like the thing that keeps the song going is new vision, like whether it's Jax's version or like Phoebe Bridgers did a version of it. Rustin Kelly did one, like all these new artists figuring out SZA. I love SZA's version. She did it live, but I just feel lucky that there's a thing that I made that people can plug themselves into no matter what, where they come from or how they see things, and just like figure out how it becomes their narrative. That's more important than what I meant with it originally, you know? So,
Right.
yeah.
Did you do the Santa Claus voice in the
I
song?
did.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was wondering. That's
Oh,
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
A complete opposite, right? You go from this really, really high to this really, really deep low
Mhm.
voice.
Yeah.
Is it natural or is it
It is. It
oh
is.
wow.
I've got 2 tickets to AC. Like it's, you know,
I
it's there.
love it, man.
It's there somewhere. I don't sing like that in the band ever. It's only ever just like horsing around, you know.
Yeah.
But it seemed like the only opportunity ever to throw
Yeah.
throw that gauntlet down, and you know, yeah, it was cool.
And I love the music video. The music video is beautiful. It's perfect. I know that it's in a memoriam. Was it your dog that is in memoriam?
Yes, Buddy, our little terrier mix who we had since 2014. He was a scoundrel, and he was really smart. He was like too smart to be a dog. Like he concocted elaborate lies and told us these lies that were just so like, you got to be kidding me. He really figured that. And like a dog that can knowingly lie to you is pretty fabulous and succeed, like trick, like literally trick. So he was so smart and so independent. And the first thing he did, the first Christmas we ever brought him to, we got him in December of 2014, and he jumped on the dining room table while we were doing the Santa Claus for the kids in the other room at the family Christmas party, and he pulled a whole tray of meatballs, like
Oh my
big
god.
Italian meatball tray, right off the table. And I think he got like 5 of them before we found him. Like he was really
Wow.
doing the Lord's work. But that's the kind of dog he was. He was like obsessed with treats, and the narrative to turn myself as a family member into Buddy the dog made a lot more sense than trying to plug myself into the video.
Yeah.
Like that just felt like, no, it's not a little kid, it's the dog. It's the dog who's neglected. It's the dog who wants more treats, you know.
Yep.
Mhm.
So
The
that was how
music
that
video
came
was
together.
perfect, man. It was so funny, and the ending where Santa meets up with the dog and he's got the tickets, it blew my mind. I was like, oh, this is such a perfect way to start the holiday season, man. I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, that's all I wanted for Christmas in 1986 or 1985 was AC/DC tickets, you know. So and I did see them at Madison Square Garden. The first time I saw them was 1987. So
Oh,
no, sorry,
wow.
1988, a few years
Oh.
later. But it was the first concert I ever went to without my parents, and I did not get the tickets for Christmas. But it was like trying to tie that room together, like that first concert experience.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, it was so impactful on me, just the whole, like, just being in the same room with Angus Young and Malcolm Young and the rest of them was just so crazy. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Speaking of other artists, I know you mentioned SZA. Is there any artist right now that you're looking at, you know, early on in their career that you're excited to kind of see somebody? Because New York has a huge music scene. So is there anybody that you're kind of like excited to see start to grow and blossom as an artist?
That's a really good question. I actually come across like 3 or 4 bands a month just cruising Spotify where I'm like, oh my God, this could be like the most amazing thing. There's one band called Cheer Bleeders that we brought to the UK with us. They're pretty fab. There's another one called Tribe Friday. They're from Sweden. And they're the only ones who I found them because of a Teenage Dirtbag cover that they did, but they put a guitar solo in it, which was the coolest. It was so different and so cool because there's no solo in the original. So they just built this like extra part of the song where they just start shredding solos. And I was like, that's amazing. And we got in touch with them, and turns out the rest of their songs are fantastic. They're a great band. So that was lucky. And we took them on a few dates in the UK this past time. But awesome, Rod Wave is pretty impressive. There's another hip hop artist called Fat Tony, who we really love. He's a friend of ours. Mega Ran is another one, sort of genius guy. Yeah, so many. I mean, I could go through my Spotify and we'll be here all night. Like, oh, this one, and some of them have hundreds of plays.
Right, right.
They're
Mhm.
still absolutely brilliant. So yeah.
Yeah, man. So I want to talk a little bit about Wannabe Gangster. I want to see how you feel about my opinion on this. I listened to the album again recently, and I want to know, would you say that you guys, when you went in and did that album, had a pretty major like British invasion influence?
Interesting. No. I've always really liked the Who a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like British invasion era Who. I like 70s Who.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Mhm.
You Better You Bet and Athena. That's actually
Mhm.
80s Who. But British invasion. No, but I think that the way that we did things on the album might have come off like that because it was all raw performance based, and so were those
Mhm.
old Kinks records and
Right.
early Who records and the Clash and all this British invasion stuff you're talking about was all sort of like primarily like the band standing in a room playing together kind of stuff, and we did our best swipe at that we could, so it has that raw feeling to it. It's also, we didn't have a lot of time for edits. In fact, we didn't really have any because we were recording on these digital tape decks, and you had to like punch in and punch out and be really good at
Right.
that. And if you did a good enough, what we shot for was a good enough continuous performance. A Teenage Dirtbag has no overdubs in the drum track, for example. My brother just got that in one go.
Wow.
And then we realized
That's crazy.
that the cymbal shots were clipped. So we overdubbed the cymbal shots only because we had made a mistake there and made them distorted. So, yeah, that was maybe you're onto something there. It's sort of trashy, I guess.
Well, it had this very like high chorus, like the chorus guitar pedal tone throughout the album, and then
Well, that's not a pedal. That's me doubling. So I'm like playing.
Oh,
There's
okay.
mostly like if there's an electric guitar part, there's two of them on the right and there's two of them on the left for
Oh, wow.
four total performances.
Oh,
So when you blend them together on top of each other, you do
Yeah.
slightly different tones, right? You do like a cleaner tone and like a radioactive, we called it, like, and sort of fuzz. And to create that layering, when you do that, you get a little bit of chorus phasing because it's not identical in the same exact like
Mhm.
physics-wise spot. So you get a little. Now you still have to make it really tight, or else someone's going to know that like there's like too many guitars on here.
Yeah,
Like, why are there
yeah,
four
yeah.
guitarists in the band? But yeah, that's how we got that.
That I did not know that. That's crazy.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that definitely stood out to me, and then your vocals, some of the songs, and you guys are a very fun band, and it just really reminded me of like old like White Album Beatles songs, you know what I mean?
That's
Like,
my favorite Beatles album.
yeah, you
Specifically
have songs that are
yeah.
just like
So Everybody's Got Something to Hide except for Me and My Monkey
yeah.
Mhm.
is definitely my favorite Beatles song, aside from Penny Lane, which is just because I just love it because it's beautiful. But as far as a recording, I would take the White Album any day. I think it's like their best work, and it does have rough edges, and that's kind of like how it's built.
Right.
But there's no, like, on our second record, if you listen to the song Lemonade, there's no Lemonade without Everybody's Got Something to Hide except for Me and My Monkey.
Yeah.
So there's that John was capable of this. Nobody else in the band really was, I don't think, at the time. But it was capable of like a true punk, proto-punk feeling, like where it was like he's fucking ruining that microphone. Like he's screaming. He knows he's not using it right, and that's fine, So I guess Paul did that a little bit on Helter Skelter. We could talk about this forever, but yes, you're right. The White Album's my favorite Beatles.
Man, I nailed that. I'm surprised. It was the first thing I
Good
noticed
job.
when I listened.
So much so, you want to hear something really weird? This scared the shit out of me. So when we went over to England for the first time, somebody an A&R guy who hadn't signed us, who was in the local office in London, had paired us without telling us, with a producer who took the Wannabe Gangster multi-track and replaced all the guitars in the bass line with Dear Prudence,
Really?
which is this other,
What?
this other laconic descending guitar line, right?
Yeah.
And I heard it, and I was like, like they didn't tell me, but when I finally heard it, I was in the presence of the Sony people, and they were like aghast that I was saying, we're not doing this. I was like, no, we can't. This is fucking Dear Prudence. Can you not hear that? And they were like, I don't know what you're talking about, because of course it's not. Back then, it wasn't their job to license something like that.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
and I think he re-recorded it so there wouldn't be this like problem of the master having been used. He wouldn't have had access. Nobody has access to the White Album multi-tracks, and not in 2001. But it was the publishing, and I was like, there's no way I'm not going to put my publishing company in a position to be asking Paul McCartney in England
Yeah.
if we can
Mhm.
have our third single be Dear Prudence. I was like, no, like absolutely not. And I had to fight really hard to get that like squashed.
Right.
And that was like a part of the beginning of our souring of our relationship with them, like that whole thing.
That's
So you hit it so hard on the head, like Wannabe Gangster was directly, Dear Prudence.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, if
Wow.
you ever wonder if I know what I'm talking about, I fucking know music.
Yeah,
Apparently,
you do.
Just in
do.
this one instance.
Good ear. Good ear.
Yeah.
So my next question for you is a little about your love for literature, man. I know it's pretty documented that you love literature and you're a big reader. My little sister loves to read.
Yes, I do.
My wife is a school teacher. So my question is, what are you reading now? And is there a specific book or piece of literature that really influenced your writing style?
That's a really good question. I am revisiting currently the Bill Bryson Shakespeare book, which is so good. So good. It's like, it's, just pause this podcast and go get it. On top of that, I was most recently influenced to write, or inspired to write, by Joyce Maynard, who is she sort of famously, when she was 18 and I believe a student at Yale, wrote an essay that the New York Times published. This is, I think, in the 60s, and she really hit the nail on the head. She had a lot of promise. J.D. Salinger wound up reading this essay that she wrote. It's called An 18-Year-Old Looks Back. And it's right up there with, there's another essay that I'm fascinated with called My Lost City by F. Scott Fitzgerald, which he wrote, I think he wrote it in the 40s, long after he had come and gone in the literary world, That's kind of my favorite spot. Like, what was the author writing when nobody cared about them, when they were like yet to become American classic? But I'm also obsessed with bands that way too. I love the transitional phase for a band where they like lost their singer or had to do like I'm always like sort of looking for the elements. And sometimes they're not there. Like sometimes the band really did fly apart and couldn't do anything. But then you have Back in Black, or you have 5150 by Van Halen. Or OU812 by Yes, like these weird, no, that's not Yes, sorry. OU812 is Van Halen. I'm talking about the Yes album that has the 90125, I think it is, but it's a Los Angeles area code and I can never remember, but it's the one with Owner of a Lonely Heart on it.
Yes, yeah.
And they got rid of Steve Howe and it's Trevor Rabin. Anyway, I could go down every rabbit hole we're talking about right now, but I'll just sum it up to say that like when Kurt Vonnegut was writing other stories because he wasn't like able to publish Slaughterhouse-5, those are the ones that fascinate me.
Right.
So my first favorite piece of literature ever was Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and I think the reason is because it's like a burgeoning atheist story, and I read it when I was 10 or 9, somewhere like really early on. And I think the subject matter really hit me because it's about this like seagull who's a sort of a trash bird, and he figures out how to not eat like a trash bird and not behave like a trash bird, and he learns something in private, and that's kind of like what I did with my voice. Like that's a metaphor that like holds with me pretty strong. Like douchebag from Long Island who figured out like how to sing, you know.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any musical training. That's the other thing. I took a few guitar lessons when I was about 8 or 9, but and my mom showed me My Girl when I was 8, but I don't know how to read music. I still don't.
Wow.
But literature wise, yeah, those are 3 good points. Kurt Vonnegut. Also, it's not literature, but Chuck D from Public Enemy. Like you could learn a whole entire history in depth of the American like colonial experience if you look up everything Chuck D talks about when you hear him say it. Like if you just like if you're sitting with Chuck D and you just pause stuff and listen. Queen Latifah's like that too. Like hip hop artists are basically like more pure form of the bard, you know?
Right.
So yeah, I think that's hip hop is literature, really.
Chuck
Like,
D, he's Public Enemy, right? He's
Public
OPP.
Enemy.
Yeah.
No, OPP is
oh
God, Tretch and Naughty by Nature.
yes.
Yes.
Yep.
No, I'm talking Public Enemy, Flavor Flav and Feel the Black Planet and Takes a Nation of Millions. Yeah, that stuff. Yeah.
Damn. I have one final question for the interview side of the show. We
Okay.
ask all of our guests this same question. Well, first off, I'm sure you probably remember you were on the SDR show long time ago with Ralph Sutton.
I'm sorry, I don't remember, but I trust you.
That's all right. But I took a lot of inspiration from his show for my show, and he asks a sex, drugs, and rock and roll question to all of his guests.
Okay.
And, mine is different. We're not going down that rabbit hole. Ours is called the Hook and Bridge Podcast for a reason. My little sister, I consider her to be the bridge of the show. She's a little more quiet but intricate, very vital piece of the organization. I consider myself to be the hook of the show, kind of the interviewer, the entertainer kind of guy. And then my wife is the and symbol that holds everything together. And we ask all of our guests, what is more important to you when you're writing or producing or listening to music? The hook versus the bridge of a song. It's an interesting question. We got a lot of different answers.
We do get really good answers too.
Yeah.
My favorite songs that I've finished have been ones where the narrative came first. So I had a story, and from the story emerges a hook. And when that happens, that's the most like complete way. I have written songs in the other direction where it's like, man, these are good verses, but oh God, I need a hook for this chorus. I don't even know what to do. And I just wind up with fake lyrics until I get something. But, Teenage Dirtbag was a story first. Love is a Mutt from Hell and Hey Mr. Brown and Wanna Be Gangster were all stories first. They were all conceptual narratives that turned into songs. And those are the easiest ones to write. So what's the most important? Is it the hook or the bridge? Or the and.
Thank you. Nobody ever talks about me.
I think it's honestly, I think it's the and, because the and is this like unidentifiable bonder, right? It's like it's the hinge of the whole entire thing,
right?
And like if I were to hum you Teenage Dirtbag or play it on a piano, you would know it, right? But if you were a space alien who'd never heard the song before, you wouldn't know that it's just the story. So that's the end, is this like, and it's came from this narrative, which is more of a Shakespeare-y kind of approach.
Love that.
Short stories are a good way to, especially if you're lazy like me, turn into a songwriter because short stories is like this, like, I read a lot of Flannery O'Connor when I was in high school and Aldous Huxley and that kind of the typical stuff, An Occurrence at Owl Creek Ridge, and all other sorts of things that have led me to want to be a more concise storyteller. And the guitar and the singing is easy after that.
Yeah, I mean, they become the instruments, right? They're the conduit to tell the story.
Yeah, it's almost like cheating. Like a guitar like spruces up a story pretty
Yeah.
gnarly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like it's kind of cheating. Yeah. You know who's really good at that? Ani DeFranco is
Oh,
just
yeah.
so
Mm.
good. Yeah,
Mhm.
she's incredible.
That's a name I haven't heard in a little while.
It's funny you mentioned the
DeFranco.
rawness of the first album and thinking that it had some British invasion factor. It's more Ani. I was listening to a lot of Ani DeFranco
Oh,
and
really?
Indigo Girls at the time, and that was the music that was really kind of like pushing me toward playing acoustic guitar through an amp like Ani does and like Willie Nelson does. Like, make a 4-minute and 20-second song that has a narrative where you turn into a girl and blah blah blah. Like just do all that. Who cares?
Mhm.
Like, and it was the focus on these rule breakers that was at the time in the 90s that was really more inspiring than anything. Like, I mean, like AC/DC is the most disciplined 3-minute song band in the world, right?
Mhm.
And they are my first favorite, but I was specifically staying away from stuff like that. And of
Right.
course,
Mhm.
revisited that 1,000 times since, But, yeah,
Awesome.
stories.
I love it, man.
I
Stories
like that
began.
answer. That was
Yeah.
good.
This has been one of my favorite interviews of all time.
Yeah.
You're a fascinating guy. Honestly,
Very.
if
You should
ever
see me when
wanna
I'm
just
not
hang out
dehydrated.
yeah, if you
Just so you know, this is the second Gatorade that I've
Oh my
done.
God.
That's a big boy. Oh my
It's-
goodness.
It's a gallon. It's the full one.
I do have this little game we're gonna play with you real quick.
I'm excited.
Do you like to laugh?
Oh yeah.
All right. So we have this game that we made up a long time ago. It is called My Music Montage Don't Giggle Giggle. And
Okay.
essentially, we took a TikTok trend of a song and
My
turned
money
it
don't jiggle jiggle.
into
Yeah.
a little thing here. So basically, it's kind of like a react thing. We used to do it as a try not to laugh challenge, but it's not great at doing
No,
that.
I was too good at it. So
Yeah.
now we're allowed to laugh.
Now
Because
we
you
just
can
look
keep
at
a
some-
poker face. You don't need to. you don't need to
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I got it.
So basically,
Well-
my wife curates these really funny music themed memes, and we're just gonna look at them and laugh and have a good time.
Have a
Okay.
good time.
Okay.
All right, so the first one here.
Wait, you got to put it in full mode.
Oh, sorry.
Why, like,
got
I don't
me
want to see your
anyway.
full.
that fully got me no matter what. Like, first of all, can I just say,
Yeah.
first of all, I thought it was Justin Timberlake and not the dude from
It kind of looks like
from
Justin
Disturbed.
Timberlake.
Yeah.
I fully thought that was Justin Timberlake.
Oh,
You
that's
should
funny.
change that one to be down with the. Yeah, that's funny.
It's really good.
What's
That's
his
really
name?
good.
David Draymond
Yep.
from not System of a Down, Disturbed.
Disturbed. Hello.
Yeah,
And it says "Down with the Swiss Miss," which is oh
That's
man, that's
so funny.
hilarious.
so
It's
good.
topical.
That's great.
His Instagram, I keep saying it on here,
It's
but
so
if
funny.
you get a chance, follow his Instagram. He loves to put his face on things and just make fun of himself. He's a great
That's
guy.
funny.
Honestly, he probably made this himself.
He probably did.
He's real fun.
All right. Dwight and Sprinkles.
I don't know what
The
that one
Office.
means.
Yes.
The
yes,
Office.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So disclaimer: I haven't watched anything other than the British Office.
Oh,
Really?
There's a
Really?
British Office.
The
Oh,
original.
Taylor, where have you
Oh.
been?
Yeah, it's the
I'm
original.
not watching The Office.
So I think it was 1999 and 2000.
Mhm.
Ricky Gervais got
Yeah.
the BBC. He convinced the BBC to let him do the original Office, and there's 2 seasons of it and 1 Christmas special. And it is, to me, it's too impactful as a standalone series to watch the American version, which came after, I think, in 2004, 2005 it started. So they licensed it from Ricky Gervais, and it is like, the original is so embarrassing. It's so
Yes.
hard to watch. You have to be able to crawl under a couch and like, like, because it's so embarrassing. Like,
Yeah.
10 times more embarrassing than any American series, like Curb Your Enthusiasm or any of the sort of
Yeah.
like red-faced satire, like, oh my God, I'm gonna explode from being embarrassed for these people. But yeah, check out the original Office.
Yes.
Lot of awkward moments.
Oh my
So
God.
awkward.
Original,
Oh
yeah.
my God, so painfully awkward. The most
Yeah.
painfully awkward.
All right, let's see.
Oh, that's good.
Well, it was Courtney Love and
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain.
yes.
Now that I know what it was, it's brilliant.
Woo E O. I'm
Who
not.
are you?
Oh, okay.
Does- that-
South Park.
Do you get it now? I'm not your
Yeah.
buddy, guy.
Is
Instead
that
of like,
Terrence and Phillip? Is that who that is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Instead of
okay.
Buddy Holly.
That's funny.
That's funny. That's good. I like that that the mouth is so crudely drawn on this character that there isn't any rivers underneath it. Like it has
Yeah.
like it just blocks.
Yeah.
the mouth. Pretty
Oh.
solid.
Isn't that what happens when they talk too? Like you see that behind them?
like
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you
I
see anything.
definitely read it as "Hey Ya" at first, like the song, like in my head, the lyrics. I was like, I don't get it.
Oh, jeez. All right.
Oh.
Tiny
Oh,
Dancer,
yes.
Elton John, and
Yes.
it's Barbie movie.
Hell yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'd
Hold
just
me
like to take a
closer.
moment and say this is my favorite one so far. I recently did an Oppenbarber.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yes.
really?
Yes, and I hadn't seen either one of them, so I got home from tour, and it's like you got to take your first day off. You can't do anything, so I was like, Oppenbarber. I watched Oppenheimer, loved it. Good
It's
science
really good.
movie. Yeah. Also, Oppenheimer. If you don't know some decent amount of the physics of fission and fusion, then you're really kind of gonna have to stop it from time to time. And it's
Mhm.
not, in my personal opinion, it's a richer movie if you understand that side of it.
Mhm.
Barbie is just a brand new sort of breakthrough masterpiece.
Isn't it so good?
It's so fucking good. I can't it's
good.
indescribable. There's only like a few movies in history that hit me like this is totally new. This is a totally new. And the fact
Yeah.
that they did that with an iconic American doll is
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah,
Like
it's
what a hat
so
trick.
good.
Yeah, so good. So good.
What,
I'm
Taylor,
glad
what's
that you agree with that.
What's that one part in the
I
beginning that I love?
just can. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, it's right in
Um,
the beginning. It's a jerk off joke, but I can't remember.
Oh God.
Oh, beach off.
Beach off.
Yeah,
that's
the
what
beach-
it
the beach
is.
The beach off
Yeah.
is first of all, like talk about triggering the right people. Like, yes, of course. Like anyone
so
who's mad
good.
at that scene, I'm glad they're mad. Like
It's so good.
yeah. And then of course Kate McKinnon's character, Weird Barbie.
Yes.
is
Oh,
so
my
clever.
goodness.
Just killer.
It's so good.
Yeah. Fabulous. That was the first time you felt like it was a human movie, was when you saw
Yeah.
her. Like,
Yeah.
They did a really good job of that.
Oh,
First of
my
all,
God.
first of all, I know this because I was like, I have this video on a VHS tape that I made recording the MTV Top 20 Video Countdown in 1986 or 87, whenever this was out. So
Yes.
that's first of all. That's like, so I know what that is right away, just visually.
So we've
yeah.
got Marilyn Manson, and it says Manson in the street.
Instead of
play
dancing
on
in the
dancing
street.
in the
Instead of
street.
dancing in the street.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
So
That's good.
the
Oh.
hair, the Mick Jagger side of it, the hair.
Yes.
Looks like a raccoon's nest, and that is perfect. That's perfect. Did you touch up the hair like at all?
No.
Oh my
No.
God. Oh my God.
That's so funny.
Wow.
And that's it's Mick Jagger and
David Bowie.
David Bowie, yeah.
Yeah.
Marilyn Manson's face fits so
Yes.
nicely on David Bowie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's kind of
It-
scary.
Yeah. The David Bowie one fits a lot better than the Mick Jagger one.
Yeah.
But I prefer the Mick Jagger one because it's such a mess. So yeah.
Oh man,
Jesus.
Oh,
that's
that's funny.
Oh my God. Okay, can you please send me that one?
Sure can.
I have 15 people I need to send that to immediately. You can put your little signature at the bottom of it. 'cause
No,
you-
it's not.
Holy shit,
That's
man.
funny.
Oh my
God,
god.
I had a crush on her, but it was pretty hard. And I think just about everybody else did that summer. Like she's like,
Mhm.
oh man.
Have
mean-
you seen the documentary like about
No.
Stalker? There's a documentary about Tiffany. I think it's called I Think We're Alone Now.
Yeah, I think
Um,
I started, or somebody was watching it when I was around, and I was like, "Is this about what I think it's about?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I'm not watching this shit. Like, I can't." I mean, if I will eventually, but there's just I have to be in a certain place to watch something that's about some psycho.
That's
so
fair.
yeah. But
for the audience, it says it's the Tiffany album cover. It says Tiffany, I think we're Malone now, and it's Post
Post
Malone's
Malone's
face on Tiffany's body.
too good.
Why does
good.
he look like he looks like Wango Tango? Who sings that? Shit.
You're asking the wrong person. I don't know.
Well,
Who sings what?
right.
Wango Tango.
When I saw this, just the first frame of it hitting my brain was I thought it was Michael Bolton.
Oh my god, it does look like Bolton.
Yeah, I thought it was
With
like
the
a
long
lost
hair.
Michael
Yeah.
Bolton track,
Mhm.
but then I saw that scripted Tiffany logo is like so iconic and just oh my god.
It's really funny.
Oh,
Also,
that's
they did that
funny.
so well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like photoshopped it on there.
perfect.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that you just uprolled me. How did you do that?
Yes.
That's funny.
Oh man.
Oh my god. Did
These
you
are
see have
great.
you seen the Teenage Dirtbag that those guys did? The band's
Yes.
called Deco or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh man, I have already reached out and told them that like if Rick gets involved in this, I will approve that interpolation. Like
Oh,
I will
yes.
definitely say yes to that.
Mhm.
I would love to see that happen.
That
That's
would be
just too cool.
incredible, man.
Rick
Oh.
might be too big for us, but I understand that. No harm, no foul.
He has been putting out or not putting out, he's doing some live performances of some heavier songs, and he's got a great like rock voice.
Oh man,
also.
he's a brilliant musician.
Yeah.
He's always been
Mhm.
brilliant. He's always been a genuine crooner.
Yeah.
And he's great. He's fantastic.
All right, here we go. It says everybody wants to rule the world.
Heavy fruit.
It's
No.
the brain from
Pinky in the
Pinky's
Brain. Well, it's the
The
brain.
Piggy in the Brain's not my era of time, but I totally understand what this is.
Oh, that's good.
That's
kind.
funny.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here.
Oh, Gabrielle's gonna love that one. Gabrielle speaks French. She's gonna love that. I love also that Matt Sharp has somehow become a female.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yes.
pretty great.
Yeah. That's
Um,
funny.
Oh my god.
yeah, and the drumsticks are replaced because the Matt.
baguette.
Wait, what's the drummer's name again?
Oh.
Oh, that's a deep cut.
Oh shit! If I wasn't dehydrated and food poisoned, this would all be at the top of right on my tongue.
Yeah.
Weezer getting a lot of love today.
Yes.
A lot of
Yeah.
love.
Weezer, but it's French and it's spelled
Oui.
Ouizer,
Yes,
and they're all
yes.
they have
Weezer.
mustaches and berets and
Oh,
baguettes
this
and
is-
wine.
They look like French people.
Good.
They do.
It's fantastic.
Mhm.
That's the next one. You really need to send me that. That's
Yes.
that.
I'll
that
send
needs
you
to
the
go to
whole
somebody.
slideshow, man. You can have them all.
There's a band. There's a
yours.
band called Lake Cambrian in Brooklyn. Singer songwriter is a good friend of mine, John Lashevsky, and they're a great band. Look them up. And this is like so far up his alley, like it's right in the wheelhouse. Because Dave Mustaine, just
Mhm.
Megadeth. Just oh my god, we talk about him too much.
And then Peg Bundy.
Yeah, Peg Bundy.
Megadeth.
Perfect
With the
Photoshop.
cigarettes hanging out of her mouth. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
And then she has the very like manly looking hand.
Mhm,
It's great.
mhm.
Yeah, well, it's Dave Mustaine's hand still. So
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny.
Oh man.
Oh.
Oh man. Oh.
Shit.
Funny.
This is Freddie Mercury's face, and he's singing Mama, and then we've got American Psycho, Will Smith, and Shaq.
Shaq. Is Shaq from Hot Ones? Is that what that scene?
I
It
think
looks like it's from
no,
Hot
I
Ones.
think it's from one of those ESPN interviews that he
No, I
did.
do believe it's
Is it Hot
Ones.
Ones?
I think.
And
Yeah.
look at his
Oh.
eyes. It looks like a
Yeah.
Hot Ones setup.
And he's
So I
saying,
can't say I'm fully connecting with the memeology on this one. It is funny in some abstract way because I know that Christian Bale's character is making a very different type of ooh face. But that's just because I've seen American Psycho.
Oh, that
Um,
movie's so good.
just the ooze, just funny.
All right.
This is bad. Are we looking at
That's good.
basically don't talk about someone's mama that way? Is that what we're looking at? Like,
I
Sure.
think so.
okay.
We've got there we go.
Okay, that's the third one you got to send me. Please. Again for John from Lake Cambrian. That's
Oh, I love it.
Oh, this one's might be my favorite. I fucking love Beavis and Butthead so much.
It's so good.
This is Beavis on Axl Rose's body, and it says "Welcome to the bunghole."
yeah. And I think it's a screenshot from the Paradise City video.
I think
Probably.
so. I think
Yeah.
so. Did you are you a big Beavis and Butthead fan?
No.
Sure. Yeah.
Did you watch the new one, the new
No.
movie that they did? I
No, I haven't.
either.
But they used a really cool AC/DC song called "Gone Shootin'"
Yes.
in the original movie, and also for a time, no joke, that was the best place to watch cool videos because
Yes.
MTV had an excuse to play like, you know, White Zombie and like other stuff that was sort of left of center that that MTV wouldn't normally play. And they could have these two idiots talking about it, you know.
Yep. and the comedic banter made it stick in your head because like years later when I was in high school, you'd pull it up to show your friends on YouTube. You'd be like, "Oh, remember when they made fun of corn? Let's look at this corn video."
Yeah.
It was a good way to...
The best thing that they could ever say about you is be like, this is like oddly cool.
Pretty good impression.
Oh man.
You know, they look so much alike that
They
I
do.
didn't notice that it was Eminem.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
Yeah.
I didn't notice
Right off
the
the
difference
bat,
at
I was
first.
like, what's
That's
the joke?
funny.
Oh my God.
That's impressive.
That's a very good Photoshop.
I never realized how similar their faces
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it took me a minute to stare at it. I was like, because you just can see that something's a little off,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
not off enough.
The thing is, Eminem doesn't smile, so then that's the only like thing that you can tell them apart.
Yeah, I
Right.
almost
Because
wonder
Richard Simmons is so happy.
is
Yeah.
it Richard oh well, yeah, it's definitely Eminem's whole face.
Yeah.
No,
I
but
was
even though
wondering
there's no smile, it still looked like Richard
Yeah.
Simmons.
yeah. Like I was wondering if maybe they didn't replace the eyes, if it was Richard
No.
Simmons' eyes, but that's definitely Eminem's face.
Yeah.
It looks like they maybe left some part of the cheek structure in place.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, something.
That's a really good Photoshop, though.
damn.
It says Richard Simmons.
That's funny.
All right, here. Peaches for me.
It says
Oh
peaches
my
for me.
goodness.
Oh, some good old
This
president.
is my favorite one. I love this song so much.
It's a great song. That whole album
That's
is
good.
incredible.
Yeah, oh yeah, that whole album.
That's so good.
Fantastic.
Has
You got
Lump
the
on it,
Princess
and
Peach.
isn't Kitty on that as
Yep,
well?
Kitty's on
Yes,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, those
Oh,
guys.
that is such a good album.
Yeah. So I'm not a big like Mario became very fashionable after I learned how to play Donkey Kong on ColecoVision. So that was my 1986 was my Mario time, and then of course Super Mario and Mario Brothers and all of the rest of the franchise came after that. And I think what I'm seeing here is that the princess is it Princess Peaches? Am I wrong about that?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's here in the box, and they're all the characters from
Yes.
Mario, including what's the mushroom called? I forget.
I forget
Toad.
what his name-
Toad.
Okay.
Toad.
Yeah.
So Toad, Luigi, and Mario are,
Yes.
or Mario. I know that there's a debate about this, but I don't have
Now-
to engage in it.
The new movie that came out, they kind of say both. It's like a mixture of Mario and Mario.
Oh, do they?
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's a New York dialect, right? Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like in
But-
New York they say Mario.
What's really funny about this is I don't know if any of you have seen the movie.
Mm-mm.
But Bowser does a song for Peaches because he's in love with Peaches. Yeah, and it goes peaches, 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 peaches. I love you. And it's really good. It's so funny.
Who's Bowser?
Jack Black.
The giant turtle. Yeah,
Okay.
he's played by Jack Black.
I think he
Got
wants
it.
to know the actual
Yeah.
character.
Oh,
but
right. No. I don't know who Bowser is, and I didn't know that Jack Black played him.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool. My Bowser from my generation is from Sha Na Na.
Oh,
He's
Bowser.
got a
Ah.
pretty
Mhm.
solid Twitter account. I think he's probably on TikTok too, but he's one of my heroes. He's the guy from Sha Na Na who did this.
Yep.
Oh, I was like,
Mhm,
"Ooh."
mhm.
So
That was
yeah,
Bowser.
he's a classic. And if I got a deep voice from anybody, it was probably Bowser. Not the turtle played by Jack Black, but the baritone in Sha Na Na.
It's a twofer.
Oh, okay. Twofer. Devil Went Down to Georgia comes on the radio. Me.
And there's a guy in a car and he's playing the fiddle.
I like
Just in
these.
case Stevie Nicks.
I like these both, but the one on the right appeals to my heart a little
Yes, yes,
stronger.
yeah.
Just
That was
keeping
her
a
for
tambourine
Halloween.
around. Yeah.
I love that.
And it says, just in case
That's
Stevie
really funny.
pops up in my shower.
Alrighty. And
That is too funny.
Oh.
uh,
It says Milli Vanilli
That
watching
sucks.
people get famous for lip
Oh my
syncing
God.
on TikTok.
oh,
That sucks. You know what's
funny.
really horrible about that? I don't want to ruin this meme for you guys, but the guy on the left killed himself.
Oh,
really?
Yeah,
Dang.
he like
Feel bad now.
it's an ugly little story. They
R.I.P.
were kind of forced to do that. Like they didn't have a choice, and
Mhm.
by the way, they're not the only ones who are doing it. That's a
oh no.
Crazy.
yeah.
All right. What's to say at the top?
And it says, you can move that. No. You can drag that.
Drag this. Oh, look at that.
Holy moly. Elvis Presley Etch a Sketch. It has Hound Dog, Jailhouse Rock, Love Me Tender, and All Shook Up.
That's funny. I like how
Oh, that's
long
good.
that takes. This one needs a guide and is worth it with a guide.
Yes.
That's funny.
That's good.
Alright. When you change it to classic rock, expecting Led Zeppelin, but get Linkin Park.
Linkin Park.
Oh,
It's
That's
our time,
funny.
buddy. It's our time.
You know, you got to move out with the old. I mean,
Oh,
they got to think of something else
Wow.
besides classic rock to call it, like
yeah,
old timey rock.
Metallica's Black album is going to be on old timey rock.
Yeah.
It will be an old timey rock.
Ah,
Wow.
Yeah, and what's weird about that is the Black Album belongs on old timey rock, but the one before it doesn't, which is And Justice for All, and that's a masterpiece, and that could be timeless. But that's another rabbit hole. We're just gonna jump over that one.
all
Last
right.
one.
Last one.
when I was a young
young
boy.
To see the Black Parade.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Oh,
that's funny.
so funny.
I was just singing the song to my boyfriend earlier.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
And
that's
of course,
extremely emo. That is the
it's-
most emo
Uh-huh.
thing.
Sound of Music, and she's singing
Yeah.
Good
Sound of
Children in
Music.
the Field.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Oh, I love it.
All right. Well,
That's so
that's
funny.
the last one, man.
That's it.
Wow.
I'm
Those
so
were
glad.
good.
That was
I'm so glad
good.
we stuck it out. That was really funny.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Oh, this was so much fun.
Is there
No worries.
anything you would like to promote while you're here? This episode, you're the first one of the new year.
Oh wow.
out
Okay,
on
so
New Year's
well,
Day.
if you missed it, we did Christmas Dirtbag on a Christmas EP that has 5 songs on it. Whole band contributed to all 5 songs. And then we just dropped our 2020 20th anniversary 20-song version of the first record. We re-recorded it, and as you know, maybe we re-recorded Teenage Dirtbag like a Taylor's version, like back in 2020 before it was called that. And we finally got all the songs done, and it's got, instead of 10 songs, it's got 20 songs, and there's like an extra 10 that sounded like they belonged on the first record, but that's why we didn't record them through the years. I can probably confirm that I'm touring Australia
Wow.
in February,
Ooh.
acoustic, opening up for Art Alexakis from Everclear.
We just had him on the show.
We just had it. That's crazy.
Genius, one of my favorite American songwriters of all time. He's like, I mean, just the simplest, like most. He reminds me of all the classical, like Randy Newman and like all these like you know genius American songwriters, and I'm just really honored and proud to be going out with him to support. And then I'm doing 4 months on the road with Gabrielle, opening up for me acoustic in the States. And then I think we're jumping in a tour bus sometime around May or June. And then I think we're doing something in England. And I think we're doing something in the fall in America again. And I think we're headed back to England in December. It's all
Busy.
scaring the shit out of
Wow.
me right now.
I was gonna say, do you ever get a break, man? I mean,
I
good
need one for
Lord.
December because I got to get better. I'm so
Yeah.
sick, you know, like
Yeah.
it's time to recuperate. But
That's-
thanks for having me on. This was super
Yeah,
fun.
man, that's
Yes,
fucking
thank
incredible.
you so much.
Yeah.
Art is an idol of mine. It was such an honor to have him on and talk to
It was
him.
really great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huge
he's
fan of his
He's,
writing.
he's definitely my favorite, like innovator of chord and simplistic but really miraculous song structure.
Mhm.
Like no one can write like him, and no one
Yeah.
should even try. Is it complicated? No, it's not. It's unique. It's art. Like it's you know it's crazy what he
Right.
what he can do with 3 chords.
That's
Yeah.
wild, man. So before you hop off, if you don't mind, if you want to give us your email, I will send over that meme list to you.
Yeah,
right
please
after the
do.
show.
It's bbb@wheatus.com.
Oh, okay. bbb@wheatus.com.
Simple.
That is simple. All right, awesome. I will send that over to you, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. If you ever want
Yeah,
to come
thank
back
you.
on, please feel free. We would love to have
Oh,
you
it was so
back
much
on.
fun. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. I love how you're doing the bridge and the and thing. That was really interesting.
Aw,
Next time we'll
thank you.
talk about how things work with when there's 3 different inputs. I would love to hear.
I would love to get deep on some
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Well,
All
thank
right.
you.
Yes, thank you. Feel better, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes.
Is the
Quick recovery.
yeah, thanks. Is the recording all cool? I don't want to.
Yeah, no,
Sign
yeah,
off.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you.
Have a good holiday.
You too.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
That was so fun. Time for me?
Yeah, time for you, buddy.
All right.
He
First
was
of
a
all,
lot of
Mm-hmm.
fun.
can I tell our listeners that I'm currently in Florida? You can't see my pretty background because it's dark, but I was hoping you'd be able to see it and I could brag about the palm trees in the back.
You can't see
You
anything.
can't see anything.
Can't see nothing.
It's just dark.
There's a nice heated pool back here. That's currently at 95 degrees.
Must be
What's the temp
nice.
down there?
Right now it is 75.
Ooh.
Today during the day it was like 84-ish.
We should start celebrating Christmas in Florida.
I agree. I think
We
I should
all
just
go
move to
Dylan's
Florida.
house.
Yeah.
I'm good on going to Dylan's house.
No, like we celebrate it there. We stay somewhere else, but like we celebrate it there.
It'll be a great time. Anyways,
Just 2 people.
if you guys liked today's video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe and hit that bell notification so you're notified every time we post a new video.
And as always, check out all of our stuff. The Instagram is doing well. The website is over there. We put up blogs on there. You can leave us a voicemail and we'll listen to it on the show. What else do we have? YouTube's doing well. And we have a Patreon.
Peaches.
If you want, you can join the Patreon for some exclusive content. And we've got merch. We got lots of merch. So if you're interested in merch.
Leave that merch.
And I think that covers
Is
everything.
that it?
I think so. All right. It's been real. Peace. Whoa. What just happened?
You're still recording, right?
Yeah.
Yo.
Can we do that again?
What is
Yeah,
that?
let's see.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Peace.
Why?
Whoa.
Well, is it the duck or is it just this?
It's just that.
That's
What
crazy.
other things can I do? Not that.
Make heart hands?
What? This is crazy. What else
I
can you
don't.
do?
I don't know what else.
Can we do it?
I
Can you
what
make
else?
your hands go like this? See what happens.